This video covers character creation, character sharing between projects, and character progression over the course of a story. Characters are created within projects, but are not tied only to that project and can be shared between different projects. Opening a project and expanding the Assets view, you will see a list of character selections. If you have created characters in other projects, you will see them listed here in this section labeled Not Associated with Project. You can then associate them with this project if you want to use them again. Characters that you create in this project will automatically be associated with it, and they will be available to associate with other projects. Character creation is possible in 3 different contexts: the project characters context, the manuscript planning context, and the manuscript writing context. This flexibility allows users to create characters when it suits them. For example, you can create characters before you have started planning your story structure, while planning the story structure, while writing, or a combination of the above. There are a few differences between the project characters context and the manuscript planning or writing context when it comes to character creation and management. The project characters context is the only context where a character's attributes or traits can be added or removed. The project characters context will display all characters associated with the project. The planning context will filter characters according to those associated with the active scene. Characters created in the planning or writing contexts will automatically be associated with the active scene. The planning and the writing contexts make the manuscript traversal tools available, where the user can traverse the story plot scene by scene according to the selected scene order. The planning and the writing contexts allow you to adjust character progression. For clarity, character progression in Novel Goggles includes the following: associating characters with specific scenes in your manuscripts, thus creating character arcs, including scene-specific notes for characters, adjusting the weight of various strength and weakness attributes or traits for dynamic characters for each scene that they are associated with, and finally viewing and adjusting plots that show how character attributes or traits change over the course of the character arc. Let's take a look at characters in the various contexts. This is the project characters context. All characters associated with this project will be accessible here. You can filter displayed characters by typing a character name into the filter input. Partial matches to what you type will also be shown. The help icon to the left of the filter input is a toggle that will enable or disable tooltips. If tooltips are currently enabled, hovering over this icon will show additional help for this page, otherwise it will do nothing unless you click the icon and then hover over it again. Create a character by clicking the Create Character button. This will create and open a character details view, where you can set a number of character attributes. Note also the recycle icon to the top right of the view. Many assets in Novel Goggles can be recycled if you no longer want to use them, but do not want to permanently delete them just yet. Existing characters can be recycled in the project characters and planning contexts. The small solid bin icon represents the recycle command. To recycle an asset, left-click and hold the mouse button down on this icon. The icon will not immediately trigger the recycle operation. Note that the icon fills with red from the left to indicate that a recycle operation is imminent. The recycle operation should trigger after 2 seconds. Once the recycle operation is triggered, the asset recycle flag will be set and that asset will no longer show up in normal views. All asset data and links are however untouched. To restore the asset or to permanently delete it, you will have to go to the asset management context, discussed later in the video. The following global character attributes are available to edit in all contexts: a description of the character appearance and a character image. You can insert a written description of the character's appearance and upload an image depicting the character. You can toggle which of these is visible using the display image toggle. Name. Add your character's name for your reference. The name will also be used by Novel Goggles when filtering by name and to populate the context menu in the writing context. Alias. Add aliases for your character, for your own reference. This will help you keep track of any nicknames or other aliases used in your story. Role. Set a specific role for the character. This is currently for your reference only, but may unlock additional functionality in the future. Character depth. Set whether the character is dynamic or static. Dynamic characters allow you to adjust the weight of the strengths and weaknesses for each scene in the plot, while static characters do not progress over the course of the story. Alignment. The alignment slider is for you to use as you wish. An example of how it might be used is to assign the leftmost extreme to indicate pure evil, the middle of the slider to indicate neutral, and the rightmost extreme to indicate pure good. You can then set each character's alignment on this spectrum as a reminder of what type of behavior would be in character and out of character for them, allowing you to maintain consistency, create believable characters, and create context for out-of-character behavior where necessary. Summary. The summary area is for you to provide a brief summary of the character to reference as you write your story. Add details about their background, age, gender, and whatever else you want to be reminded of. You can also make notes here. Motivation. The motivation area is for you to describe what the primary motivation is for the character. You can also make notes here. In the project context, the following additional character attributes can be manipulated. You can add or remove traits or attributes for the character that would be considered a strength. The left-hand selection contains a list of available strengths, and the right-hand selection contains the list of strengths already associated with the character. You can add or remove traits or attributes for the character that would be considered a weakness. The left-hand selection contains a list of available weaknesses, and the right-hand selection contains the list of weaknesses already associated with the character. Select one or more traits and use the buttons to change the association. Alternatively, double-click a trait to change its association. The traits and attributes that you select here will show up in the character progression view for dynamic characters, allowing you to adjust the weights of these strengths and weaknesses throughout the story. Now let's look at the planning context and the character progression view. This is the planning context. Here, you can associate a character with a scene by selecting the character from the list of available characters in the Scene Details area. You can add and remove characters as you wish, but take note that removing a character from a scene will delete any previously stored progression data or scene notes for that scene from the character asset. Switching to the character progression view, note that only characters associated with the active scene will be visible here. You can create characters here, and they will automatically be associated with the active scene. You will, however, need to go to the project character's context to add strengths and weaknesses for the character before adjusting its progression. Strengths and weaknesses adjustment for the active scene. For every scene that the character appears in, you can adjust their strengths and weaknesses by manipulating the strengths and weaknesses spiderweb plots shown for that scene. Click on one of the darker rectangles in the plot and drag it to adjust a trait. Switching to the previous scene or next scene for that character is facilitated by the previous scene and next scene buttons visible in the character progression section of the character details view. To view and adjust the full character progression across all associated scenes, click the All Scenes button to open up the Cartesian plot that shows all character attributes for the entire character arc. The legend above the plot allows you to select what is shown on the plot. The plot points representing the active scene will slowly pulse, and changing the active scene will center that scene's plot points. The plot can be dragged and zoomed horizontally. Click and drag to move the plot and use the mouse wheel to zoom. Hovering over a plot point will show the name of the traits or attribute being represented by that element, and clicking and dragging a plot point allows you to adjust that trait or attribute for the associated scene. Clicking selected scene will take you back to the spiderweb plots for the active scene. Scene notes. You can add notes for each scene that a character appears in, and clicking on the scene title above the notes area will open a small scene details pop-up containing the scene summary. Now, let's look at the writing context and the character creation and manipulation options available there. This is the writing context. Here, you can also associate existing characters with scenes using the Scene Details view to the left of the manuscript. To view character details, highlight the name or part of the name of an existing character in the manuscript text and right-click. Now select the character you wish to view. This will open a Character Details pop-up similar to the character details accessible in the character progression view of the planning context. If you choose the Create New Character with Name option, a new character will be created and its name will be set to the highlighted text. Note that you will have to go to the project character's context to associate strengths and weaknesses to the character before you can manipulate the character progression. In the manuscript planning and writing contexts, the following traversal options are available for characters: character arc order and chronological order. In the Traversal Options dialog, choose to traverse character. Now select the character whose arc you wish to traverse. Finally, select character arc order or chronological order. Now you can traverse the manuscript using the previous scene and next scene buttons. Character arc order will traverse the scenes that the selected character appears in the order that they appear in the manuscript. Chronological order will traverse the scenes that the selected character appears in by the date set for the scenes. This option requires each scene to have a date set for traversal to function correctly. Finally, let's take a look at character asset management at the account level. This is the Manage Assets context of Novel Goggles. This context allows you to manage all assets associated with your account, including downloading asset backups for individual assets, restoring recycled assets and deleting assets permanently. Notice that characters are grouped under their own asset class and not under projects. You can filter by asset title or show certain asset classes only. Character asset management. Recycled characters. Any characters that have been recycled will be highlighted in orange. To manage a specific character, click on the ellipses button for that character. This is the Character Asset Management view. Here you can view a text-only representation of the asset data and its links to other assets. Characters that have the recycled flag set will have a button to restore the character, which will simply unset the recycled flag and make the character available in normal views again. Clicking the download icon will download a backup file representing this asset. To delete a character permanently, click and hold on the bin icon with the X on it. This button works similarly to the Asset Recycle button and will not immediately trigger a delete operation. Instead, the button will start to fill with red from the left until the delete operation is triggered after 2 seconds. Delete operations are permanent, so be sure that you no longer require the asset before deleting it. That is all for this video. To learn about other Novel Goggles features, see the other videos available on our YouTube channel.